One of the things I'm asked about the most from other lawyers is the technology that we use. And that's become even more popular because of the pandemic and these virtual hearings and meetings that we're all doing. Now, the first thing is that I'm clearly not up at the Marin Bells, even though I've got a virtual background that represents that I am. Now, the halo effect around my head can be a little distracting, and it's even weirder when I kind of use my hands here, but that's less distracting than when I'm at home, which I currently am, and there's a spare bed or a bike in the background. So speaking about other appearances, we use an external webcam. The reason we do that is that it's clearer than the camera that comes with our laptop. So all of us at our firm have external webcams, and we have them positioned in a manner so you're not looking up someone's nose or seeing their double chin or anything like that, because that can be distracting. What else do we have? Well, we are purposeful with the lighting that we use. Right now I have a desk lamp that's shining on my face, and I have the shades drawn behind me so that there's no backlighting that becomes distracting. Why does this matter? Well, I can give you an example. This summer I went to trial, and there was an expert that the other side had listening in on the whole hearing. And I had worked with this expert before, and they are very, very good, very reputable. But the problem came when he needed to come and testify, when it was his turn. You couldn't hear or see him. And so the judge, everyone involved, was leaning over, and you could visibly see the judge just kind of tune out. And in a bench trial, that really matters. So we are very intentional with the sound, the audio, the video, everything that goes into these virtual hearings, because guess what? They're not going to go away anytime soon as much as we all want them to. Now, in addition to the visual, I mentioned audio. I have an external USB microphone that I have in front of me. You can't see it, but you can certainly hear me. Headphones. We also oftentimes will put in headphones when we have a microphone so that the audio, the external, the speaker, you're not hearing an echo. We've all been on those Zoom calls when you just hear someone echo, and it's unbelievably distracting. There's nothing worse than upsetting a judge who's trying to mute everyone, and they're more worried about muting the person that we can hear eating lunch or drinking something or talking, and you just hear them over and over. Lawyers talk enough as it is. The judges don't need to hear it twice. What else do they not want to hear? Now, we all understand that kids can interrupt a virtual meeting or a vacuum cleaner or some other background noise. Believe me, I've got a 4 and a 6-year-old. It happens. But what can you do to mitigate it? Well, we use an app called Crisp. It cancels out the background noise on Zoom calls, or in Colorado, because we're doing it via WebEx, with WebEx. So our firm uses Crisp when we're in virtual hearings or those critical client meetings when there might be a risk of the background noise being a distraction. This is a list of the various things that I've covered, and I'll get to TrialPad, the Reflector 3 app, and TranscriptPad next. But these are the recommendations or things that we use, and they may not be the best out there, but they work for us. And for you to consider as you add to your trial quiver, because you want to have as many thoughtful arrows in that quiver to be the most effective advocate as you can. Because again, these virtual hearings, they're not going away anytime soon. Now, I mentioned TranscriptPad, TrialPad, and the Reflector 3 app. Now, we've all been in those hearings when the other party struggles to share their screen. I had one trial in which the other party asked me to share the screen because he couldn't figure out how to do it. Now, he's retired, and so at this point, I'm assuming that you've figured out how to share your screen. And Adobe is perfectly fine, or some other PDF program is perfectly fine. But we've been using TrialPad for years. Normally we walk into the courtroom and we've got our big screen, flat screen TV, and we set it up, and there's certainly an intimidation factor. We can't do that when we're working from home, but we can certainly still use TrialPad, and here's why. Here's the situation. You're in trial, you need to share that exhibit, and you want to highlight something. Can you do that with Adobe? Sure. But with TrialPad, you can do it a lot more effectively. And I've redacted the information here from a case that I had over the summer, but I can highlight, this is an email, and I can highlight various things. And in addition, I can also have this is from a parental relocation hearing that I had. I can do things such as have a comparison. And these are various options that are problematic, and I don't have the wasted space of the menu on the side. But these two exhibits became the dominating factor in a trial that I had earlier this summer. And it became such an issue where the other attorney, he kept on asking me to bring this up. Now, I don't know why, because they were beneficial to my client, and the graphics, you can tell we've put in a lot of thought, and you can highlight that with an application like TrialPad. Now, if you want to impeach someone and you've got depositions, you can have a sister company with which is called TranscriptPad. And so in that circumstance, I can impeach someone in a much more effective manner because the two applications work side by side. So why should you care about this? Well, it matters. The video, the audio, it can make a difference when you have millions of dollars at stake, when you have parental rights, custody at stake, when someone's going to go to jail. The difference between understanding an exhibit and really seeing it and really hearing the witnesses, it can really make a difference. And that's why we are intentional, and it's why we practice with our clients to make sure that they understand, and if necessary, we get them the necessary hardware or software so that we can present the most effective case and communicate in a manner at home or at the office in the most persuasive manner. Until next time, I'm Ryan Kalamaya. Thanks for the time. Good luck out there in the virtual world that we're living in right now.